Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive. You know we love to geek out on all things health and wellness, and today we're diving deep into something pretty vital, your liver.
That's right. We're going to learn how to keep it happy and healthy.
We've got some awesome viewer-submitted videos to guide our deep dive this time, one from Dr. Eric Berg, all about the best foods to support your liver.
And another one from Healthy Care on those sneaky warning signs of liver damage that you might be missing.
Yeah, those are super helpful videos because, let's be honest,
The liver often gets overlooked.
it kind of does its thing silently in the background.
Right, exactly, until it doesn't.
Exactly, and we definitely don't want to get to that point. So
Definitely not.
let's start off with like a super basic question, though. What does the liver even do?
Okay, so in a nutshell, your liver is your body's ultimate detoxifier.
Okay, so it's like a filter.
It's way more than just a filter. Think of it as this high-tech processing plant that's constantly filtering and neutralizing all those harmful substances that you're exposed to every day.
Okay, so that could be like everything from the food we eat to the air we breathe.
Exactly. Medications, pesticides, alcohol, you name it, your liver has to deal with it.
So you're saying it's not like this toxin storage unit where all the bad stuff just accumulates.
Nope, that's a common misconception. The liver is all about processing and eliminating those toxins.
Okay, that makes sense. So how does it actually do that? Like, what's the process?
So it's actually a pretty complex three-phase detoxification process.
3 phases. Okay, break it down for me.
So phase one is kind of like demolition. Think of your liver as a tiny construction crew breaking down those big nasty toxins into smaller, more manageable pieces.
Okay, so it's like chopping them up.
Exactly. Then in phase two, the liver switches gears and becomes a chemist.
Chemist, what do you mean?
It starts neutralizing those broken down toxins, making them harmless.
Okay, so it's like rendering them inactive.
Exactly. And finally, phase three is all about waste removal. Those neutralized particles are packaged up and shipped out of your body.
So kind of like a garbage disposal, but way more sophisticated.
Way more sophisticated. And here's where it gets interesting. This whole detoxification process relies on certain nutrients to run smoothly.
Oh, Dr. Berg talked about that in his video. He mentioned B vitamins and antioxidants being super important.
Absolutely. Those nutrients are like the fuel that keeps the detox engine running.
So if you're deficient in those nutrients, your liver might not be functioning at its best.
Exactly. And here's another thing that can really throw a wrench in the whole process. Constipation or something called bile sludge.
Bile sludge, what is that?
It's basically a thick gel-like substance that forms when the components of bile get out of whack.
So like bile gone bad.
Kind of, and it can really clog up those detoxification pathways.
So it's like the pipes getting clogged.
Exactly, and this is why gut health is so crucial for liver health.
Makes sense. A healthy gut equals a happy liver.
Precisely, and of course there are other things that can impact your liver's ability to function properly.
Like what?
Things like fatty liver disease, inflammation, and even cirrhosis.
Those all sound pretty serious.
Those conditions can really impair your liver's ability to do its job.
So we need to keep this detox powerhouse running smoothly.
Ah,
Got it? But
yeah.
isn't the liver involved in a bunch of other stuff too?
Oh, yeah. The liver is like the ultimate multitasker. It's not just about detoxification.
What else does it do?
Well, one of its major gigs is producing bile.
Bile, what's that?
It's this greenish yellow fluid that's essential for digesting fats.
Okay, and where does it come from?
The liver makes it, and here's the cool part. Bile actually helps your body absorb those fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K.
Wait, so without enough bile, you're not getting the full benefit of those vitamins, even if you're eating the right foods.
You got it. And speaking of connections, remember how we talked about cholesterol earlier?
Yeah.
Well, the liver actually uses cholesterol to make bile.
No way, I had no idea they were connected like that.
See, the body is amazing. It's all interconnected. And the liver's role doesn't stop there.
What else does it do?
It also plays a major role in converting thyroid hormones, specifically T4, to the active T3 form.
So if your liver is struggling, could that impact your thyroid function?
It's definitely a piece of the puzzle, and we're not done yet. The liver also helps regulate hormones like estrogen, testosterone, and even cortisol.
Wow, it really is the ultimate multitasker. Okay, so we've covered how amazing the liver is, but what about those warning signs that something might be off? The Healthy Care video had a pretty extensive list.
It did, and that's because the signs can be subtle and easily dismissed. So let's break them down.
Okay, let's do it. What should we be looking out for?
First, pay attention to your digestion. Things like pale stools or feeling pressure on your right side after eating could be red flags.
Interesting. So those Seemingly minor digestive issues could actually be linked to the liver.
They could be also, keep an eye on your skin and nails, things like itchiness, yellowing of the skin, or eyes, which is jaundice, spider veins, even cracked heels or changes in your nails like white spots or clubbing.
Wow, I had no idea. Some of those things could be related to liver health, anything else.
Fatigue is another big one, and then there's swelling in the right foot, poor night vision, and dark urine.
Okay, that's a lot to keep track of. Should we be running to the doctor if we experience any of these?
It's always best to err on the side of caution and consult with your doctor if you're having any concerns. Remember, these are just potential indicators, not self-diagnosis tools.
That's a good point. Now let's talk about how we can support our liver. Dr. Berg's video highlighted 7 hero foods for liver health, and I have to admit I was surprised by some of them.
It's a great list, and each food has a specific reason for being a liver champion. Let's start with cruciferous vegetables. Your kale, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, that whole gang.
So not just good for you, but specifically good for your liver. Why is that?
They're like a multi-tool for liver health. They're packed with nutrients and fiber, and they even contain special compounds that support the liver's detox enzymes. Plus, that fiber feeds the good bacteria in your gut, which we know is linked to healthy bile production.
So eat your veggies, got it. What else is on the list?
Well, Dr. Berg is a big fan of sauerkraut fermented cabbage, packed with probiotics.
So double the gut benefits for the liver.
Exactly, and those probiotics further enhance the benefits of those cruciferous veggies. It's like a liver-loving combo.
I like it. Next up, we have eggs. I know they're a good source of protein, but what makes them a liver hero?
Eggs contain choline, which is a nutrient that actually helps strip fat from the liver. It's incredibly important for anyone dealing with fatty liver disease.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I had no idea choline played such a vital role in liver health.
Okay.
What else made the cut?
Sprouts, especially broccoli sprouts, they're packed with sulforaphane, a compound known for its powerful detoxifying and cancer protective properties.
Broccoli sprouts. Check. What about beets? I love those.
Beets are fantastic. They help reduce liver inflammation, support healthy bile flow, and can even help with blood sugar balance thanks to those nitrates that convert to nitric oxide in your body, helping those blood vessels relax. And don't forget the beet greens.
What, you mean the leafy tops? I usually just toss those.
Don't. They're packed with potassium and other nutrients.
Okay, beet greens added to the list. What's next?
Garlic, a culinary staple. It's also a liver-loving superstar. It's rich in sulfur, which is crucial for the liver's detox processes. Plus, it's a natural anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial agent, giving you a triple whammy of benefits.
I love that garlic check. Then we have salmon and other omega-3 rich foods, which we all know are good for our hearts, but what about our livers?
Omega-3s are potent anti-inflammatories. They help combat inflammation and oxidative stress throughout the body, including in the liver.
Okay, so they're like little warriors fighting off damage.
Exactly. And finally, Dr. Berg highlights the humble lemon, a simple but powerful ally for liver health.
I put lemon in my water all the time.
Great. It's a good source of vitamin C, which helps reduce liver fat and fights inflammation. Plus, that sour taste actually stimulates bile production, further aiding in detoxification.
So those glasses of lemon water are giving my liver a high five. This list is amazing.
Oh.
I'm already thinking about all the delicious meals I can create with these ingredients.
It's really empowering to know that we can support our liver through simple food choices.
Absolutely. But I'm curious, did Dr. Berg mention any other liver-supporting foods beyond this top 7 list?
He did. He also touched on apple cider vinegar, diluted in water, of course, extra virgin olive oil, and milk thistle, which is a powerful herb, especially if you're taking medications that might put extra stress on your liver.
So it's like a protective shield for the liver.
Exactly. Think of it as a little bodyguard, helping your liver stay strong and resilient in the face of all those daily challenges.
That's a great visual.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about what the liver does and how important it is. But the Healthy Care video also highlighted something that really surprised me. They said that liver damage isn't always caused by alcohol.
Yeah, that's a really important point to make. While excessive alcohol consumption definitely puts a strain on the liver, there are other sneaky culprits that often fly under the radar.
Like what? What else should we be watching out for?
Well, sugar is a big one.
Yeah.
Remember how we talked about fructose being a challenge for the liver?
Yeah, you mentioned it can create a bit of a traffic jam in the detox process.
Exactly. Sugary drinks, processed foods, even those seemingly healthy fruit juices can overload the liver with fructose. And over time, that can lead to problems like fatty liver disease.
So even if someone doesn't drink alcohol, they could still be harming their liver with a diet high in sugar.
Absolutely. And it's not just sugar. Processed foods in general are often loaded with unhealthy fats, additives, and preservatives. All those things put an extra burden on the liver's detoxification system.
It's like a double whammy. You're
Yeah.
not giving your liver the nutrients it needs, and then on top of that, you're bombarding it with things it has to work extra hard to process.
Precisely. And then there are certain medications that can damage the liver too, even over-the-counter painkillers if they're used too frequently.
I had no idea. Like what?
Things like acetaminophen or ibuprofen.
Wow. A good reminder to be mindful of everything we put into our bodies, both food and medications. What about things we're exposed to in our environment? Do those impact the liver as well?
Definitely. Environmental toxins like pesticides, plastics, and air pollution can all take a toll on liver health.
So it's like a constant battle for our livers.
In a way, it is. But the good news is that the liver is incredibly resilient, like we talked about before. It has that remarkable ability to regenerate and repair itself, especially when we give it the right support.
That's encouraging to hear. So we've talked about what can damage the liver, but the Healthy Care video also went into more detail about some specific conditions like fatty liver disease and cirrhosis. Can you explain those a bit more?
Sure. Fatty liver disease is basically what it sounds like. It's a condition where fat builds up in the liver. It's often linked to obesity, insulin resistance, and high cholesterol.
And is it reversible?
In the early stages, yes. Lifestyle changes, particularly diet and exercise, can make a huge difference.
That's good to know. And what about cirrhosis? That one sounds a lot more serious.
Cirrhosis is a much more advanced stage of liver damage. At that point, scar tissue has formed, which impairs the liver's ability to function properly.
So it's like the liver's trying to heal itself, but it ends up forming scar tissue instead of healthy tissue.
Exactly. And unfortunately, cirrhosis is often irreversible. But even then, there are things that can be done to manage the symptoms and slow down the progression of the disease.
This is heavy stuff, but it's important to understand. You know what they say, knowledge is power?
I completely agree. It's empowering to know that we can take steps to protect our liver health. Speaking of which, Healthy Care also offered some tips for reversing liver damage.
Let's hear them. What do they recommend?
Their top recommendation was to clean up your diet, which is in line with what Dr. Berg was saying. They emphasized cutting back on those sugary, starchy, and flour-based foods.
So basically ditching processed junk and focusing on whole, unprocessed food.
Exactly. They also highlighted the importance of eating lots of bitter, sulfur-rich foods.
Like those cruciferous veggies we were talking about earlier.
Yep, those. And also things like arugula, radishes, garlic, onions, even mushrooms. These foods can help to boost glutathione levels, which is a powerful antioxidant that's really important for detoxification.
Interesting. So it's not just about removing the harmful things, but also about adding in foods that actively help the liver do its job.
Precisely. They also suggested incorporating more anti-inflammatory fats into your diet, things like extra virgin olive oil and virgin coconut oil.
Oh yeah, those are staples in my kitchen. What about drinks? Did they recommend anything specific?
They mentioned drinking a cup of organic coffee each morning with a teaspoon of turmeric added in.
That's an interesting combo. What's the thinking behind that?
Well, the polyphenols in the coffee and the curcumin in the turmeric both have anti-inflammatory and liver protective properties, so they kind of work together to help reduce scar tissue formation and repair any existing damage.
Wow, I'm definitely going to have to try that. Any other drink recommendations?
They stressed the importance of staying well hydrated with plenty of high-quality mineral water. Aim for at least 1 liter per day.
Makes sense. Water is essential.
Right. And they added that squeezing some fresh lemon or lime juice into your water can help improve the filtration of toxins in the liver.
Okay, so water, check, and bonus points for adding some lemon or lime. What else was on their list of liver-saving tips?
Intermittent fasting. They recommended incorporating that into your routine, suggesting an 18-hour fasting window each day.
We were talking about that before, right?
Right.
It gives the liver a much-needed break to focus on repair and regeneration.
Exactly. And finally, they recommended ditching inflammatory seed oils, like corn oil, cottonseed oil, canola oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, all of those.
Okay, so those are out.
Yeah. And they said to stick with those anti-inflammatory fats like extra virgin olive oil and virgin coconut oil for cooking and dressings.
Got it. Out with the inflammatory oils, in with the healthy fats. This is seriously helpful advice. So much practical stuff we can actually do to support our livers. Did Healthy Care mention anything else?
They briefly touched on purified bile supplements.
Bile supplements, what are those for?
They can help eliminate fat from the liver and prevent gallstones from forming.
Oh, interesting. So they can be helpful for certain conditions.
Yeah. They also mentioned other vitamins and supplements, but they said to check out another video for more information about those.
Maybe that's something we can dive into another time.
Sounds good to me.
This has been so eye-opening. I feel like I've learned so much about this vital organ that I kind of took for granted before. I think the biggest takeaway for me is that we really do have more control over our liver health than we realize.
I agree completely. By making conscious choices about what we eat, how we live, even the supplements we consider, we can take charge of our liver health and overall well-being.
So true. Well, we've covered a lot in this deep dive. But before we wrap things up completely, there's one more thing I want to circle back to. Earlier, we were talking about how the liver is connected to all these other systems in the body, like the gut and the endocrine system. And it got me thinking, is there a connection between liver health and mental health?
Well, that's a really interesting question. And actually, emerging research is starting to explore what they call the gut-liver-brain axis.
Gut-liver-brain axis. Okay, that sounds kind of complicated.
It is. It's basically this intricate communication pathway where the health of one of these systems can impact the others.
So it's like they're all interconnected.
Exactly. They're all talking to each other and influencing each other.
So where does the liver fit into all of this?
Well, remember how we talked about the liver's role in detoxification?
Yeah.
When the liver is overloaded or not functioning optimally, it can lead to a buildup of toxins in the body.
Right.
And some of those toxins can actually cross the blood-brain barrier.
The blood-brain barrier, isn't that the protective shield around our brains?
Exactly. It's supposed to keep harmful substances out, but when the liver's not doing its job properly, some of those toxins can sneak through.
And what happens then?
Well, those toxins can start to interfere with brain function and mood.
So a sluggish liver could actually contribute to things like brain fog, anxiety, or even depression.
That's what some researchers believe. There's definitely a growing body of evidence to support that connection.
Wow, that's kind of mind-blowing. And then there's the whole gut microbiome connection too, right?
Exactly. We know that the gut produces neurotransmitters like serotonin, which plays a huge role in mood regulation.
And we talked earlier about how a healthy gut supports a healthy liver.
Exactly. So you can see how it all ties together. If your gut microbiome is out of whack, it can impact both your liver and your brain health.
It's like a domino effect.
It really is. It just highlights how interconnected all the systems in our body truly are.
It makes you realize that taking care of your liver isn't just about preventing physical health problems, it's about supporting your overall well-being.
Absolutely. And both Dr. Berg and Healthy Care touched on this idea of holistic health in their videos.
Oh, yeah.
They emphasize that supporting liver health isn't just about adding a few liver-loving foods to your diet.
Right.
It's about making lifestyle choices that promote well-being across the board.
So things like managing stress, getting enough sleep, exercising regularly, those all play a role.
Absolutely. Those things are crucial. And don't forget about mindfulness. Being aware of the toxins we're exposed to in our environment and through the products we use is so important.
Like choosing natural cleaning products or filtering our water.
Exactly. Those small changes can really add up over time.
It's all about those conscious choices.
Yeah.
This has been such an insightful conversation. I feel like I've learned so much, not just about the liver itself, but about how it fits into the bigger picture of our health.
I agree. It's been a fascinating deep dive, and I hope our listeners feel empowered to take charge of their liver health.
Me too. Remember, even small changes can make a big difference. Start with one thing you learned today and see how it impacts your overall well-being.
That's great advice. And who knows, you might just discover that taking care of your liver is one of the best things you can do for your mind, body, and spirit.
Well said. Well, on that note, this wraps up our deep dive into liver health. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. We hope you leave feeling inspired and motivated to give your liver the love it deserves.